made On Ridgeway Sports Podcast, episode 65. Hunter Keister back with
K-Mac, let's go.
After a week hiatus, we have come back for some off-season talk in sports. We got some catching up to do in the college ranks. We got the Super Bowl to recap, and some off-season news and some basketball news to close out this week as we get the off-season football, off-season wise, rolling. So let's start. Super Bowl, Chiefs, Eagles. Kurt, I gotta hear your reaction to this one, man. One of the best Super Bowls, if I'm being honest, one of the best Super Bowls I've ever seen in my life. But I want to hear your whole take, especially the end. But let's hear it, Kurt. Let's hear what you think.
All right.
38-35. Chiefs over Eagles.
Sunday, February 12th, we were all at my brother's house. He was hosting a Super Bowl party because he's a big Eagles fan. He has been for the longest time.
Great party. Shout out to Tony if he's watching, if he's listening to this. Shout out to Tony. Great Super Bowl party. Awesome time.
Overall, a great game. Lots of scoring by both teams. Little to no defense played. A great game, in my opinion, masked by one of the worst horrendous calls I've ever seen in football, or especially in Super Bowl history, for sure.
Oh, in Super Bowl history, I don't see how there's anything worse. All that I have to say, so these are the sides that I've heard, and this is what I'll say. So the one side is it's a hold by definition, and it has to be called because it was a hold, and you can look at it from the other way if it wasn't called.
Yeah.
You can look at it like, man, that changed the game, that's a hold, it wasn't called. You can look at it that way. But when you look at the game, the pace of play, how the game was played and how it was called, to play that game, to let them play the entire game, and something as ticky-tacky as that, ouch, man. Ouch. And especially, I mean, the Chiefs were just the beneficiary, but they had a couple massive calls go their way this playoff round, in these playoffs this year, and I mean, I don't blame them in the slightest, and they made the most of their opportunities. They won, and they're Super Bowl champions, but I can't say I wouldn't be angry with the NFL if I was anybody the Chiefs played in the playoffs this year. Bengals, Eagles.
Yeah, it leads back to that Bengals game, and then this was just an extension of it. I actually did see a different angle that showed it was a holding call by the rule after the game, like on social media, but I remember we were all hanging out afterwards and we were talking about it, and everyone was on the same page that you can't throw a flag there. You just can't, because you're giving the Chiefs the game there. It was a 3rd and 8. The Eagles got an incomplete pass, so the Chiefs probably would have kicked the field goal, gone up by 3 with a minute and a half left. Who's to say the Eagles couldn't go score or at least get a field goal? Just the way the game was going was a very offensive game. So, yeah, the Chiefs, they get it done. They scored 3 straight touchdown drives the second half, while the Eagles only scored 11 points second half. And man, for the Eagles to lose this game, that's one of the worst L's I've ever seen. You played that game perfect.
Yeah,
you won the time of possession. I mean,
crazy.
Mahomes barely even saw it.
Yeah.
You got multiple.
That's what's crazy. That's what's really crazy. Mahomes barely saw the field. Yeah. Wow.
He barely even saw the field the first half.
Right.
I think he had the ball maybe twice the first half.
Which I think makes it even more impressive that he could just come out in the second half. It shows how well Andy Reid was able to adjust his game plan and how the offense was just able to adjust on the fly, because you saw them go from not seeing the field at all to literally taking over the game. But that's the one thing I will say with talking about the holding call in the beginning. I will say that it was a really, really bad call, but the Eagles had so many chances to win. So
absolutely.
I do feel like it was a massive call, but not one that you can really say it was completely the only reason they lost. The Eagles, they had tons and tons of chances to win this game, and they didn't capitalize on a lot of them. Jalen Hurts, let's talk about him, though, as we kind of get into some of these players and how they played. We talked about Pat Mahomes in the second half. First half, dormant offense, doesn't really see the field. They adjust. Second half, he comes out and shows who he is. What, 4 touchdowns?
Jalen Hurts?
Patrick Mahomes, didn't he have
He had 3 passing touchdowns, yeah.
3, and then Jalen Hurts had 4, right?
Jalen Hurts had 1 passing touchdown to A.J. Brown, and he had 3 rushing touchdowns.
4, okay. Yep. Quarterback duel at its finest, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I feel like Jalen Hurts played a great game outside of that 1 fumble he had for fumble 6 for the Chiefs. I thought he played phenomenal.
Yeah, he played great. He might win the MVP if
honestly, he should have won. I feel like he high-key could have won Super Bowl MVP.
But they were talking about that on Travis and Jason Kelsey's podcast. They were talking about the fact that he could have won it even as the loser.
Honestly, and that's only happened 1 time in history. But right. I feel like he
deserved it.
I feel like he should have.
Yeah.
Because he was the only one that really did anything for Philly. Outside of that, they could not run the ball.
No, yep.
At all.
Non-existent the whole game. Everything ran through Jalen Hurts. He ran the ball for the most yards and led his team, and obviously through the air. And he really put his team on his back. And if there's anybody on Philly that has nothing to be ashamed of, it's Jalen Hurts, because he put the world on notice.
Just one unfortunate turnover, but you go 11 for 18 on 3rd downs, and you have the ball for almost 36 minutes to 24 minutes.
Especially on the Chiefs, that is something. That is a work of art. That is a work of art.
That's insane.
I remember telling both them, I said, from the Philly side during this game, they've executed their game plan to perfection. This is exactly how Philly wants this game to be. They don't want Mahomes on the field at all. They've kept him on the sidelines. And I said, they're doing everything they have to do to win.
Literally.
And it sucks that it comes down to a couple plays here or there changing the game for either way. But hats off to both teams, let's just say that. Because it was a fantastic Super Bowl.
Yeah.
From the last couple being a little lackluster, this one, fantastic.
Yeah, definitely a great game.
Fantastic game.
So, Mahomes ended up winning MVP, and the Chiefs win the Super Bowl for the 2nd time, and last time they won it was 2019, so.
Got a little Super Bowl recap. Chiefs get the Super Bowl win, and that'll do it for NFL football as the year comes to a close.
Crazy, wild season. So that'll bring us into...
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into some Big Ten hockey. We'll start there. And we will start February 11th, where we left off last time we did a podcast. We were getting ready. I was getting ready to leave for the duel in the D, the Little Cedars Arena, Michigan State hockey game. And that turned out to be a great game. We'll talk about that. But let's go from the start of the day, Saturday. 2-2, Notre Dame, Ohio State end up tying in South Bend. Wisconsin beats Minnesota 3-1. So we end up
the Invincible
hyping up Minnesota, and they end up losing to Wisconsin. So they give their home crowd something to cheer about finally. And then now finally, duel in the D, Saturday night. It was a fantastic game, back and forth throughout. Goals late in the
dive in live. You were there.
Yeah, I was there. It was great. It was live. I might try to throw some live footage up on Twitter or something to let you guys see my reaction, because it was a good one. So Michigan wins 4-3 in overtime. Michigan scores with 0.7 seconds left on the clock, and in hockey, that is something that you just do not see. We all went crazy. It was a great time. I had a great time, and Michigan picks up much needed points, because unfortunately, as we go into Thursday, February 16th, Michigan, Ohio State play from Columbus. and they go to a 3-3 overtime. They play throughout overtime to nothing. And because it's so late in the year, they do finally bring out the shootout in college hockey, and Michigan loses in Columbus. They lose in the shootout 4-3. So Ohio State picks up the much-needed extra point, and that allowed Ohio State to be need a win, and they're tied on Saturday for Ohio State in the Big Ten standings. We'll go to Friday first, though. Minnesota looks to rebound after a loss to Wisconsin, and they throttle Penn State on home ice. Minnesota road team kills them 7-2. Wisconsin,
wow.
What a beating.
Massacre.
Yep. And Wisconsin back down to earth as Michigan State takes out their aggression 6-2. Alright, now we'll get into Saturday, February 18th, my day of birth. And unfortunately for me, it did not start off the best. Kurt and I traveled down to Cleveland to catch the face-off on the lake. It was a good time spent with my dad and my little brother and Kurt. It was a good day, but unfortunately the Michigan hockey team does not show up. They pretty much never really have a chance to win this game. They draw it close near the end of the second period, as they did something weird in the middle of the second with the ice kind of having some problems. They have to go to intermission early. So Michigan plays like 6 minutes of second period hockey. They draw it kind of close, but then they take a bad penalty, and then Ohio State scores. The final is 4-2. Ohio State gets the win in Cleveland.
Yeah, I just want to say, for watching hockey really for the first
time.
Yeah,
I would say let's get into that. Let's get into you.
Just some things I noticed. Michigan did not play. They did not play good at all for this game. We lost by 20 plus face-offs, and I felt like we could never just get any type of transition offense going. As soon as we get anything going down the rink towards them, they would just instantly push the puck right back down to our side. It just seemed like they were in control of the whole game, to be honest with you. Even though it looked like the shot numbers were close, like I felt like Ohio State just constantly had the puck and they were shooting at us.
Yes, it really felt like Michigan was highly unable to get anything set up. A lot of their power plays went nowhere. Not having Luke Hughes on the back line for Michigan proved to be a huge deciding factor. I didn't know he was injured, and I'm kind of concerned as we get into postseason hockey where he's at. And with the big series against Notre Dame looming, we'll get into that near the end of this. But with that looming and Luke Hughes' health in jeopardy, it raises some questions as we're going to get into the standings, and you're going to see how close it is in a second. But Ohio State plays a great game. They win 4-2.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Cleveland Browns and the First Energy Stadium, because that place was great. What was it, like 40? Was it 40?
45,000 almost.
45,000. That's just hats off to Michigan hockey and the fans, and the fans of both the Spartans and the Buckeyes. As they pack Detroit Little Caesars Arena. That place was almost sold out, if not sold out. And to put 40,000 people in a February afternoon outdoor hockey game, that says a lot. And I made a joke, but this might actually be true. That was rivaling Cleveland Browns numbers on Sundays.
It was.
And
it looked like it. We were there.
I think that shows a lot about just these two fan bases. And then hats off to Cleveland for putting this on, and it was a great time. So Michigan gets a loss, but great time nonetheless, and we will move on. Saturday, February 18th. So Minnesota plays again. This game much close, 3-2. They win in overtime in Penn State Stadium once again. So Penn State gets a point. Really not going to matter. They're near the bottom of the Big Ten, but Minnesota just continues to pile on points late in the year. We will talk about Wisconsin. Wow. Friday night, Michigan State 6-2. Saturday night, Wisconsin 6-2. They get the win over Michigan State. So they trade whoopings back to back. And that is how Saturday closed out on the hockey side. So Kurt, I guess I'll ask you, do you see yourself following hockey anymore now that you've watched it?
You know, I feel like I would definitely be down to watch the playoff games because I feel like that would just add another level of intensity to it. But like when I actually watched it on TV, I was able to follow the movement way better than I was in person, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and my dad mentioned it to him, but I think anybody that's ever watched hockey can attest to it. It is really an acquired, something that you just kind of learn, and it is something that I do feel like it adds, like, you have to be paying attention a lot, you know what I mean?
You have to.
You don't get those times to take your eyes off or take your
there is none.
To take your head away, and I think that's what makes hockey so great. And that's what I was kind of explaining to Kurt while we were at the game, is just the fact that you have to change personnel and change players all on the fly.
It's constant.
It's
constant.
It makes hockey the great game that it is, in my opinion. And so that's encouraging to see that Kurt will give it a chance. Because I think, like I said, playoff hockey is just it's a whole different level. Especially if this Michigan team, they sit at number 4 in the country right now. They sit at number 4 in the country, and if this team gets healthy, they could make a run.
Looks like there's only a few games left.
There is only This is this is the last series.
One. Yeah.
Okay. So this makes it more massive. Me and Kurt started to kind of talk about this before we started the podcast. We talked about this series. I did not scroll to the bottom and see that this is the last playoff series. So as we get that all caught up and set up for this next coming weekend, we must jump over and look at the Big Ten hockey standings right now. So, with 22 games played, Michigan State's 24 games played, so they're done. They sit at 4. They're pretty much locked in there. Unless Notre Dame wins a couple, they could drop a little bit. But Michigan State's pretty much at 4. We got Minnesota. Listen to this. 22 games played, 51 points. 17-4-1 with 1 series left. Michigan still does sit at 2nd, but now they are tied. 22 games played each team. 36 points each team. Michigan, Ohio State. Michigan sits 12-9-1. Ohio State 11-9-2. 1 win separates them, as Ohio State made up some ground with the big regulation win, especially to not let Michigan get any points on Saturday, and then they obviously pick up the extra point on the shootout in Columbus. So they got themselves back into it and put themselves right into contention as the standings going into the final weekend. Minnesota, Michigan, Ohio State. Michigan State at 4 with 34 points. Penn State at 5 with 31. Tied with Notre Dame at 31. So Notre Dame and Penn State, if they have good weekends, you could see them move back up. With Penn State playing Wisconsin, that's a chance to make up some ground. But Notre Dame playing Michigan, that's an exciting series.
How big is that series then next weekend?
So
is it really going to impact anything?
Yeah, it could, because it could definitely affect seeding for the Big Ten tournament and who gets buys. Okay, so this was updated, I believe, yesterday, or could have even possibly been today. But this is your top 20 standings in college hockey. You got Minnesota at 1. You got Michigan at 4. Ohio State sits at 8. Penn State's at 10. Northwestern's at 15. Michigan State's at 18. And Notre Dame's at 20. And that's all top 20. So I think that the NCAA is with the rankings that came out, they're saying that they predict Michigan to finish higher than Ohio State, which I feel like they have a better chance. Ohio State has to go to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Where Michigan gets home games against a Notre Dame team who has underperformed and sits near the bottom in the Big Ten standings this year. So that favors Michigan for sure. They get their last 2 games in Ann Arbor. And that has some implications on, obviously, top 20 standings as well as Big Ten tournament standings.
Definitely.
I want to look at, is this, does this have, okay, this has when the tournament's going to start. So the Big Ten tournament will start March 3rd through the 5th. So that's next week.
Yeah.
3rd through the 5th. Yeah, next weekend it will start.
Yep, next Friday.
Big Ten hockey tournament. So we will obviously come back to you guys with updates on that and how everything shakes out from this weekend. But this sets up a really interesting matchup of hockey at Ohio State. Let's see if they can upset Minnesota, try to get as high as number 2. And for Michigan, they need big wins. They get 2 games at Yost.
Yeah.
2 games at Yost, and they need 2 big wins. So exciting hockey to end the month of February, and that will end our college hockey coverage. As we will jump over to Big Ten basketball.
All right, I want to open up with the game we watched on Tuesday against Wisconsin. A game we had to have. A game we absolutely needed to have any chance to try to get into this thing.
Yeah, there's still
a glimmer of hope.
Slight talks that they could make it. I mean, they'd obviously have to win out, which would include beating, which we would see, I believe, Illinois, Michigan State, Illinois, Ohio State, Rutgers, I believe, and there's probably a couple other games. But this game, obviously, must win. Must win.
It was must win for both teams.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we fell short.
Yep.
Now, this is almost like a week ago. But from what I remember, just looking at some of the numbers here, all I remember was Wisconsin kept running the same plays, a lot of cuts, a lot of backdoor passes.
Yes.
And a couple of times they would miss and then get the rebounds and put it right back in.
Yep.
We were getting outboarded, even though the rebounds don't show that, which is very surprising. They only beat us by 1 board. I remember Wisconsin constantly getting offensive boards.
Yes.
I remember that consistently happening, that Indiana game.
Yeah, this was just a painfully staking loss. Before we get into that game, I will go over
some of the other games.
No, wait, actually, we do need to go over. Okay, yeah, I mean, Northwestern's really turned it on as of late. They beat Ohio State. They beat Ohio State in Columbus 69-63. Ohio State I cannot believe that their head coach still has a job. It's insane he hasn't gotten fired yet. But Northwestern and Maryland looking good. We see Northwestern pick up roll win over Ohio State. You see Maryland get a win over a really good Penn State team at home. Illinois beats Rutgers by 9 at home. Nebraska beats Wisconsin in overtime by 10. And then, this game, Indiana-Michigan. I mean, I followed it a lot. It was right smack in the middle of the dual MD game, so I was kind of watching on my phone, kind of not. Didn't get to watch a whole lot of it as much as I wanted to, but I think this game to me was highlighted. It
got away from us.
Yeah, it just
very winnable.
Highlighted by yet another game, another very winnable game that Michigan just lets go by the wayside, unfortunately. They go the last 5 minutes and change without scoring a basket. They draw up one of the worst last play calls I've ever seen, I believe.
Yeah.
And that was just painfully hard to watch. There's so many stars. There's so many stars on the floor with potential, and then to see Jed Howard just throw up some mess of a shot at the buzzer was just, It's what the season's been, and I think that you got to look at Jett Howard in times like this, man. I mean, like, I get he can't make open shots, and he's put guys in positions, and they haven't played the best, but in times like that when you need to draw up a play...
You mean you got to look at Juwan Howard?
Yeah, what did I say, Jett?
You said Jett Howard.
Yeah, you got to look at Juwan, and you realize that he's got to call a better play than that for somebody like Jett Howard. And to not score in 5 minutes isn't all his fault, but I think just in terms of clock management, maybe using your timeouts better, I think there's areas that need to be improved upon. This was easily
This would have been a huge... If we win this game, there's major talks of us actually getting in this thing.
Yes. Michigan was in control. There's no reason they should lose. They let it go by the wayside, and Indiana capitalized on the road. 62-61. We will go a little bit into a box score into this.
I mean, just look at the first half, and then look at how bad we played the second half. You will be astonished at these.
Oh, yeah. 51%, 15 of 29, compared to 8 of 25, 32%. Three-point shooting goes from 30 to 14. Free throw shooting goes up from 75 to 77, but I do believe what do we have 31 rebounds as a team.
Yeah.
And they had 33, so they get a couple more rebounds. Jackson Davis destroys us. He goes for 28 points. He is just a absolute monster. That Hutchafino is really good too. He puts in 21 points. He does turn the ball over 6 times though. He gets 5 assists, 4 rebounds. Jackson Davis puts in 11 rebounds, 2 blocks. It's a good game, but if you're a fan of Michigan, man, you just got to see this one as another missed opportunity.
Another close loss.
Because I mean that's all it's gonna be is just another close loss, and that does nothing for you at this time of the year.
There are no moral victories.
Yeah, especially end of February, beginning of March, when it's really crunch time. And I don't know, even if Michigan wins out, I don't know if it'll be enough. We'll see what happens as we progress through the rest of the year, but. On the Michigan side, this one's headlined by Dickinson. He puts in another 16-point game, 7 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 steals. Buffkin, another game. He had 13 last game, 14 this one, 5 of 10, 2 of 3 from 3. He doesn't have any assists. That's crazy. He probably should have passed the ball a little bit more, facilitated a little better. But Jett Howard, 12 points. He's got to shoot a little bit better. 5 of 14 this game, 2 of 8 from 3, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. Doug McDaniel, 1 of 8, really bad game. Guard play, I remember. Buffkin played pretty well, but obviously Jett off game, Doug off game. T. Will, 2 of 5 shooting. Terrace Reed played well, 8 points on 3 of 4. He kind of set up things to come, as you will see, as he puts in 5 rebounds on limited time. Joey Baker plays 16 minutes, but doesn't really do too much with it. 1 of 3. And this one is just, like we said, a missed opportunity.
A big missed opportunity.
Big missed opportunity. And we'll see how bad it comes back to bite Michigan as we progress. But ouch, man. Yeah, that one it sucked. I just remember walking into the hockey game and I already just had a sour taste, like wow, man, we really just let that one go by the wayside. But we'll see what we can do. Let's see, we go to Sunday, February 12th. 62-41 Michigan State over Ohio State. They have lost so many games in a row. Another blowout loss. They put up 63 and 41 on home floor, and they get beat by 6 points and then 20 points. Ouch. What a year for Ohio State, as they have to be plummeting down the Big Ten standings right now. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. I can't say I'm not enjoying it just a little bit. Yeah. They're rivaling Minnesota. Minnesota's 1-13 in conference play. Ohio State's 3-13 in conference play. They have lost 8 games in a row.
I mean, I'm not complaining.
I'm not gonna say I'm gonna sit here and say I feel bad for them and all. I mean, that would be foolish of me, to be honest. Not that Michigan is much or any better at all, but I'm still going to take my joys how they come. Moving on, Iowa 68, Minnesota 56. Minnesota, same boat, Ohio State. They both are just terrible. But listen to this, Kurt. Northwestern really taking it on, commanding the Big Ten, and they shock Purdue. Number 1 ranked Purdue. Northwestern's home crowd storms the court. They win 64-58.
When was this?
Last Sunday, February 12th.
Really?
Yep. 64-58. As Northwestern is number 2 in the Big Ten, right behind Purdue. Right on their heels too, only a couple games behind them.
Oh wow.
Northwestern really turned it on. Especially
64-58.
Especially as of late. Massive game for them on Sunday. We'll go to Tuesday as we see Penn State picking up a convincing 93-81 win over Illinois. Nebraska gets a 82-72 road win over Rutgers. Yep.
Yeah.
And
that'll bring us to
Michigan.
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
See, this was the game I was talking about earlier. This was the one we watched last week where it was kind of a weird game. Like teams, like they'd go on a run, we'd go on a run, kind of back and forth. And the only one that really showed up, I remember, was Buffkin.
Yeah, that continued 13, 14, and 21 his last 3 games. 9 of 15 really took over this game, kept Michigan in it the whole night, and was really the only reason Michigan had a chance.
Especially towards the end of that game.
Yeah.
He scored like 10 points straight and actually brought us back within the game.
Yeah.
But then, just unfortunately, we just couldn't close it out.
Yep. Puts in 3 rebounds, turned the ball over 5 times, but he handled the ball a lot. So 9 of 15 shooting, we'll take it. Dickinson, 4 of 9. Needed to see the ball from him, I think, a little bit more. 12 points, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks. He plays pretty alright. Jed Howard, yet another shooting slump night for him. 4 of 14 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3. He's been a little bit overrated, I would say. Just in total, the good and the bad, I would say Jed Howard, for what I expected, he's been a little bit overrated. We'll see if that changes.
I mean, that's fair. It's just
it is
too many highs and
I
too
would
many
say
lows.
it is very hard to be the coach's son, but I'm not even judging him off that. I'm just judging him off what I've seen and how he's played. Mm-hmm. I just think him as a player is just a little bit overrated, but being the coach's son at a huge university like Michigan comes with its own pressure and trying to be the best and just trying to, lead the team in scoring like he does and shoot as much as he does. So another bad night for him, but Doug McDaniel comes away with a 7-point night on 3 of 5 shooting. He puts in 3 rebounds, only turns the ball over once. He gets 1 steal. Not too bad there. Terrence Reed puts in 6 points and 7 boards on 13 minutes played. He should really start to see some minutes developing.
I wish they'd run a lineup more with him and Dickinson on the court more. I'm not going to lie.
As you will see, there's a couple games left that we have to recap, and one of them I know for sure they played together and they played very well. Wisconsin quickly was led by a 23-point performance by Askejen, 6 of 12, shooting 2 of 7 from 3. And this one, like Kurt said, back and forth game, down to the wire. Must win for Michigan. You drop a close one to Indiana, and you followed up with a unexcusable poor performance against a very beatable Wisconsin team. And at this point, I mean, your season's bleak to none after that loss. But
safe to say, yeah.
Bleak to none. We will go and see Wednesday, February 15th, Northwestern plays Indiana, and they beat them by 2. 64-62 at home. Northwestern is on a crazy run. I actually want to go and see how they've won 5 in a row. This Northwestern team. They've really turned it on late. Obviously, in the terrible wake of the Michigan State school shooting, the game on Wednesday was canceled. Obviously, we're a little bit behind the 8 ball, but obviously just from the Made on Ridgeway Sports podcast, our condolences go out to the Michigan State Spartans, the school, the victims of that senseless, terrible shooting that happened on the Michigan State campus. Terrible. It really warmed my heart and, showed that the two bitterest of rivals, we've attacked each other in tunnels in a football game months prior, and now we can come together in tragedy and stand together and try to make stuff like this in the world stop. I know it's always going to have its own sick and twisted place in this world, but just a sad, really sad thing to see kids just trying to go to school and get an education and lose their life for literally nothing. It's pointless, it's sad, and just once again, our condolences go out to the Spartans, but we will move on. Thursday, February 16th, Purdue takes on Maryland. Purdue
goes
again. Down again. Maryland by 14.
By 14.
Beat them pretty handily at home. What a game for this Maryland home crowd. And another underperforming performance. 54 points put up in this one. 58 points last game for Purdue. And they're starting to kind of fizzle out down the stretch.
Cracking a little bit.
They're starting to crack. They were ranked number 1 for a while, and I think that it does something to it to teams, man. If you're really not like the best of the best, being ranked number 1, it does something bad for you. I saw it with Michigan hockey this year. You see it with Purdue. Being number 1, if you're really not about it, it's not good. It's not good.
Well, because you got a target on your back.
Yeah, and it makes life a lot worse for you.
You get everyone's best shot.
Yeah. Everybody wants to beat number 1 for sure. Purdue dropped another one. Bad game to lose, but they keep trucking. I guess it's good they started off so hot because they can kind of coast down the stretch and still be fine headed into the Big Ten. But Northwestern winning all these games in a row. They're trying to make a run for it late, but
streaking.
Iowa, Ohio State on that Thursday night. Iowa 92, Ohio State 75.
Put it on them.
Yet another one for Ohio State. Ohio State hangs in there, puts up a decent amount of points, but in the end it's Iowa by double digits. And
close but no cigar.
Close but no cigar for Ohio State. They just cannot seem to get anything together. Illinois, Indiana on Saturday, February 18th. Indiana picks up the 71-68 win. Rutgers, Wisconsin. This was a crazy game. And Rutgers wins it 58-57 on the road. Michigan State trying to get back to some normalcy after the school shooting that took place, obviously. Michigan in Ann Arbor. They pick up the win and they make my birthday hurt less. Obviously having to see Michigan's hockey team lose to Ohio State early in the day. I get back home and I get to watch Michigan pick up the win over Michigan State. And this one was led by Hauser and Walker for Michigan State. They put in 20 points and 11 points. Hauser shoots 6 of 13, 3 of 7, 5 of 5 from the line. Walker shoots 5 of 11. Let's see. Akins puts in 7 points on 3 of 7 shooting. Yeah, they had some guys shoot pretty poor. AJ Hoggard shot 3 of 11. Willie Call, I expected better of him. He only played 25 minutes. He must have kind of phased out. 6 of 11. On the side of Michigan, they pick up the big win. Doug McDaniel, his best game, obviously in his young Michigan career. 39 minutes played, 18 points, 6 of 10, 4 assists, a steal. Buffkin, 17 points, still tremendous play, 6 of 9 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3, 5 boards. Dickinson, 14 and 7, 5 of 13. Chet Howard, 3 of 9, 1 of 7. Still not shooting the best. He's just been in a slump the past
big slump.
4 or 5 games probably. Joey Baker plays really well. 19 minutes, 10 points, 3 of 6 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3. Michigan, obviously, with the Wisconsin loss, you don't really know where they're at. Right now, it seems like they are in the standings, as we are finally caught up enough back to basically current day. We can kind of look into the Big Ten standings a little bit. I will quickly finish out. Penn State gets the win, 76-69 as Minnesota plays competitive, but still loses at home. Sunday, Purdue takes on Ohio State. Purdue with a couple bad losses, and they obviously take it out on Ohio State at home. They throttle Ohio State, 82-55. Nebraska, huge overtime win over Maryland, 70-66 in overtime from Nebraska. What a game. And even more shocking game, Northwestern. I thought for sure I had Iowa in this game, all bowed up and everything. Northwestern throttles them, 80-60 on their home court.
They are on a tear.
They are on an absolute tear.
So they've won 5 in a row, yeah.
Yeah. So as we look, we see that Illinois, Minnesota plays tonight. Tomorrow, Michigan State, Indiana play, and a game from East Lansing. As we look to finish out the week, Wednesday, Maryland, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa. Thursday night, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Rutgers from New Jersey, and Northwestern, Illinois, in a big game from Champaign, Illinois. So that's the week through Friday. There's only another 2 weeks in this college basketball season, with the last day of conference play being Sunday, March 5th.
Oh, wow. So that basketball and hockey are going to be having that at the same time.
Yeah, right around it.
As far as the Big Ten tournaments go.
Yeah, the Big Ten tournament in hockey wasn't that the 5th?
Yeah.
And then the men's tournament is the 8th to the 12th. So on back-to-back weekends.
Man, so we're 9-7 in conference play. 15-12 overall. Sure look a lot different if we won that Indiana game.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just like that, but it really poses.
There's so many.
It poses an interesting question on where Michigan could be, especially, they find a way to beat Rutgers.
For any chance, we have to win. They have to win.
They definitely have to win out at this point. But they get a win over a Rutgers team, and then they play a Wisconsin team who would be beatable. They're near the bottom of the Big Ten, so that would be a favorable matchup going into the weekend. And then they play a road game against Illinois on that next Thursday before taking on at Indiana last game.
Honestly, I don't see any of these as gimmies. I feel like they're all going to be tough. I think Rutgers will be tough. Wisconsin, I mean, we just lost to them. Illinois,
yeah, that's what I mean.
We can hope, but man.
Especially from what we saw, I mean, they've hung around there, but
I don't know what to expect from this team game to game.
Yeah.
Could score 90 and blow out Rutgers and then score 50 and lose to Wisconsin. I don't know.
You really don't know what you're going to get from this team, man.
So, but it's still all there, and you know what? Hopefully win the next 4 and just finish the season out strong.
Yeah, let the chips fall where they may. With winning the next 4, it could put Michigan...
Because then you win 5 in a row.
Yeah, it would most likely put Michigan at least over Rutgers, possibly over Iowa. They beat an Indiana team. They could get up to maybe top 5 in the Big Ten, and that's not horrible. A horrible position to be in with the potential that this team has when they play their best to go into the Big Ten as a middle seed and try to, make some noise. It'll be different because usually, Michigan's been towards the top, especially in the Big Ten in recent memory, obviously.
Yeah.
So a little bit different, uncharted territory, unfortunately for us, but we'll see what Michigan's got left. Only a couple games left. Let's see it. Hopefully they leave it all on the floor and they play their best basketball as we get ready for March Madness.
Absolutely. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think that'll be it for coverage on that. And so Kurt followed the offseason in NFL obviously a lot closer than I do, and he said that nothing really happened besides a couple more coaches moves.
Yeah, for the most part, just the Eagles getting vultured. Their coordinators got hired to be coaches.
Yeah, that's really rough for them. Going to the Super Bowl and now having to replace both of their coordinators.
Sean Payton obviously went to Denver, as we know. They interviewed Rex Ryan the other day for defensive coordinator. Maybe you could get something going there. Obviously, Derek Carr got released by the Raiders. Another big one was the Chiefs' offensive coordinator, Eric. I can never pronounce his last name, but the guy who has been
Bieniemy?
Yes. Yeah, he got hired for the Washington Commanders offensive coordinator. So really just a lot of coaching changes.
I thought Bieniemy was kind of taking a weird step in going with the Commanders, but I didn't realize the flack that he got. I mean, not really having complete control of that offense, obviously, I guess it's justified a little bit, but a lot of people don't believe that he can really take the reins. So with a unproven Commanders offense and a giant question mark at quarterback with Carson Wentz obviously underperforming, he also got the assistant head coach role. So maybe he's in line to get that head coaching job if he does well. But that's really a big step for Bieniemy, as he's going to really have to show what he's got as an offensive guy to try to make the Commanders something of competitive.
Yeah. Not sure how that's going to roll because I don't know. It's just a weird spot. It's a weird spot. I don't know. I would have stayed with the Chiefs. I'm just saying. But, you're trying to push to be head coach, so,
I guess you got to move at some point.
So then pretty much the only other things monitoring really are just Lamar Jackson and Daniel Jesus Jones might not resign with the G-Men.
Yeah, Daniel Jones, I did see that he hires Deshaun Watson's agent, and that means Daniel Jones deserves Deshaun Watson's money, which is I think it's unbelievable. But some people on Facebook were talking, and it kind of made more sense. Deshaun Watson really just broke the market for quarterbacks, and now pretty much anybody up for a contract is going to want substantially more than they would have before. I still don't know what that means for Daniel Jones, as he's really kind of coming into his own, but still very unproven, especially to ask for the money that he's asking for. I don't know if he deserves it, and it really puts the Giants in a really weird spot, especially if they can't come to terms with him on a contract.
Yeah,
It's something we'll have to watch out for sure.
And Saquon also is a free agent if he doesn't get signed.
Is he having trouble signing with the Giants?
I haven't looked into that a whole lot.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He's a pending. So it's almost like the Giants are kind of like you can't get both.
Yeah, I didn't think about it.
So
I didn't think about that.
Do you invest into a position that you kind of can replace the running back position?
I would say,
but
yes,
I would not. I'm just saying, Saquon. This is only like his second actually fully healthy season.
Yeah. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can justify giving a proven guy away for somebody that has shown that he can be really, really good, but has also shown that he can miss half the season a lot.
Yes.
Which is unfortunate, but you saw once that injury happened, you knew that was kind of going to be his career, being able to show signs of greatness, but who knows if he can really stay on the field. But it really puts the Giants in a really bad spot as they're going to have to pick one. And, you pick Saquon, that goes the wrong way, and he ends up out of there or out of the NFL or retiring. Then you have to start completely fresh. So, the Giants are in a pickle.
Yeah, that's just...
The NFC East is really... I mean, Dallas has solidified a little bit, but even you still got Prescott and really knowing that he can't get you over the hump. So,
you're paying him big bank.
Yeah, the NFC East is in...
Commanders are in flux.
Right.
The
Eagles,
Cowboys, questions, and the Giants, major questions.
Yeah.
The Eagles have a lot of pending free agents coming up this offseason, too.
And
so
no coordinators.
Coordinators got vultured, so a lot of change already. But as this offseason develops, much is to come, much is to change. Free agency, trades, drafts, all of that. And we will stay on top of that. So,
yeah, I think that'll do it for NFL. And to close it out, I just wanted to talk about some of the moves that happened in NBA today. I thought were interesting. Patrick Beverley signs with the Chicago Bulls to bolster their guard depth for the rest of the year and hopefully for them into the playoffs. I think he can be a big asset with guys like Lonzo. Lonzo's on that team, right?
Yeah, but he's hurt.
Is he?
He stays hurt.
Yeah.
He stays hurt.
He did be hurt quite a bit.
Yeah, pretty sure DeMar DeRozan's there too.
Yeah, the Bulls got a couple pieces. They should get into the playoffs, and then with Beverly, maybe he goes in there and becomes a starter. I forgot about Ball being hurt.
Yeah.
So maybe he goes in there and starts for him. Who knows? But I know they got Zach LaVine and DeRozan, so that could be a interesting.
Yeah, we haven't touched on NBA in a minute, so there's definitely some big things I can think of that's happened.
Right.
Obviously, KD going to the Suns.
Yeah, that was also a huge move that sets the Suns up as, at least I would say, conference final favorites, if let alone NBA finals. Obviously, I mean, the All-Star game happened. I would say it was all right.
Yeah, Team Giannis won, right?
Yeah, Team Giannis picked it up.
Mm-hmm.
It was an I liked how they did the draft before the game. That's pretty cool. I would say it was a pretty alright game. And then Russell Westbrook gets bought out from the Jazz and signs with the LA Clippers. So that could be interesting as the Clippers and Lakers still have a couple matchups and a potential playoff series. Russell could. I would love to see some vintage Russell come out and see him play with some fire, getting traded away from the Lakers and coming back with the Clippers and getting revenge could be really interesting to see. So that's a cool storyline to follow. But I really just wanted to highlight some of the moves and big trades in the NBA.
I think the other one we forgot about was Kyrie from the Nets to the Mavs with Luka.
Yeah, that's a big one. We'll see how those two primary ball handlers, two of them, how they can both coincide.
I don't know. It's NBA's I feel like a lot of times the regular season's hard to really predict like game to game with like game picks.
Right.
But when it comes to the playoffs, like I feel like that's actually when they really, get down and get actually like, all right, let's actually like do this.
Right.
So I don't know. 8 teams get in, still got the play in. So this NBA will stretch all the way until like May, maybe even June, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, gonna be our only our only fiction for sports for a while, unfortunately. Do it, episode 65. Made On Ridgeway Sports Podcast. Got a whole another week in sports covered, and as we will say a lot while we're in the off season, we're another week closer to some nicer weather. And
Gotta keep it pushing. Keep it pushing.
Getting through the winter months, and we'll keep it going. So, hope you guys enjoy this one. Like, comment, throw some ideas or some topics in the comments, and let us know what you guys think about live reactions and some live podcasting from the Made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast. Let us know what you guys think about that, as we are throwing some ideas around. Just
change it up.
To try to change it up and get stuff going for this new 2023 year. So let us know what you guys think about all that, and we will see you guys. Touch on how the basketball and hockey is going. So we'll see you guys whenever the next one is.
Definitely.
Peace.